So we've figured out the next series of videos that we're going to be doing for Caravan of Garbage.
We're very excited.
I tell you what, and look, we didn't get here by chance. The title flows perfectly. Badly made movies that did badly at the box office.
That's right. BMMTDBATBO. Hashtag that thing that we said.
There's 4 of them also, and they're all video game movies.
What bad video game movies? I shan't be believing it.
Some worse than others. But I tell you what, this is a good one to start with because I love synergy. I love search engine optimization.
Okay.
Now, with a new Mad Max movie coming out, people are going to be furiously consuming all things Mad Max.
Okay, sure.
And then I assume by chance they'll stumble across Max Payne somehow. They'll get through everything, and then they'll type in Max, what else? And they'll get to the 2008.
More Max stuff. More stuff with Max in it. Minus HBO Max.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, we're also doing this because Borderlands is coming out at some point, and that's probably...
Yeah.
People are jazzed.
Yeah.
So why not just do some movies that are probably of equal quality?
Is everybody excited for Borderlands retirement home? For some reason? I love Kate Blanchett, but what's she doing in this?
I mean, she's the youngest person in that movie.
Yes, it's crazy. So this movie came out in 2008, which is the period where you and I saw every movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't see this.
Oh, leave a like. No, I didn't see it either.
Because it looked bad?
It looks bad.
Well, I was a big fan of the series. I loved Max Payne 1 and 2.
Did you get onto the third one?
Yeah, I did eventually.
Yeah.
Many years later. It's a different studio.
It's
and it's kind
Rockstar.
of a departure, but it looks great and it's still played pretty good.
Yeah.
But I remember loving the game because it was essentially like a hard-boiled detective game.
Yeah.
But it had the Matrix bullet time in it. That was the game mechanic.
That's kind of a wild thing to do, though, because those games are based on the John Woo action flicks of the 90s, like your Hard Boiled and whatever. And then this is an adaptation of those games. So it's like twice removed from the original thing.
Yeah, and I think I didn't see this initially because it looked like too much of a departure from the games.
Yeah, which
Like
it
sort
is.
Sort of leaned into the supernatural a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a little bit John Constantine 2005 in moments.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, we've been watching some good stuff this year. We've been riding high. We've done the Mad Max movies. We did the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the newer one. We did the Zorro duology.
That's right.
This was like being in a car accident. It felt like I was just walking along, going to get something for lunch,
Yes.
and I got hit with a brick. The shock of it, Mason,
yes,
to watch
wow.
something like this, something so boring and bland.
I don't think I felt as strongly about this as you did, but it isn't good. Like it's okay. What clearly they've done, they've wanted to go Sin City,
Yeah.
which came out a few years beforehand, but they didn't want to commit to the incredible production requirements of that movie.
Yeah.
You know, all on green screen, elaborate makeup, iconic characters,
Iconic looks.
So they've just gone, what if we strip it down to the basics? Just put a couple of people in trench coats and do some digital snow or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've made a boring movie then, haven't you? I love the character of Max Payne in this because he's just a police desk clerk who always carries at least 3 guns at a time, including one that's a revolver that's also a shotgun.
Oh, yeah.
You see that one? In case, I don't know, maybe he needs to obliterate some files or some toilet stalls in quick succession.
Absolutely.
He's a real man of mystery. At one point, there's a scene we cut to him. A coffee pot is boiling on the stove,
Oh.
and then he just leaves. Why'd you make that? Why'd you make the coffee if you were straight up going to leave? Are you bad at time management? Is that why your family are dead?
Well, he did say if I was 10 minutes earlier, my family wouldn't be dead.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he made the coffee and then he came in too late and his family were killed. He's a man. He's burdened by a past where his family were killed, his wife and his child were killed under mysterious circumstances, and he's decided from that point forward to not display any emotions at all ever.
It's working for him, though, isn't it?
Except for that one time when he takes drugs and he goes, "Blah," and fire appears behind him.
That was the drugs doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Really. God, so Mark Wahlberg, he wasn't and isn't a video game guy. I watched a bunch of interviews for this. Hilarious, by the way. Loved all of them. He said that this movie does the game justice and then takes it to another level because he's got an addictive...
Is the level below? It's a level below, isn't it?
He said...
He didn't say a higher level, did he?
No, he certainly didn't.
He's sneaky, this guy. Stay prayed up.
Yeah.
Stay prayed up.
So, because he didn't want to get addicted to video games, he watched his friend play through the Max Payne video games.
His turtle, probably.
He's probably his turtle.
Probably whoever his turtle is in real life.
It might be the guy who plays Turtle.
Might be the guy who plays Turtle.
Jerry Ferrara?
Yep.
Yeah. And Mark Wahlberg also called this the hardest PG-13 ever released. The thing about him, and you mentioned this, he's so stoic throughout the whole thing. He's more unhinged and driven in the other guys than he is this movie. He's just playing it real flat, real low key. There's a moment where he storms into Chris O'Donnell's office and Chris O'Donnell goes to call security and he picks up the phone to like throw it, but it's really just kind of like,
Yeah.
like
I
his
guess I'll go
heart's-
through this. I reckon maybe he thought they were going to fix it in post. They were going to add some like Sin City style, like big splash kind of thing
or
to
bullet
it.
time.
Maybe they thought he was going to add some bullet time to it. I was speaking of Chris O'Donnell. You know what? This movie, I think, is attempting to give us the feel of like, you know, an old-timey, hard-boiled detective story, and there's a conspiracy boiling up in the mean streets kind of thing. But this entire movie felt to me
Like a boring mystery.
It felt to me...
Oh, is it going to be the corporate guys or the criminal guys?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the corporate guys and the criminal guys working together?
It felt to me like an episode of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. You know where you're watching an old Scooby-Doo cartoon and you know which bookshelf is going to turn around to reveal the scary ghost because it's drawn differently than all the other bookshelves in the scene. It's exactly like that because it's like, ooh, is the assistant to the CEO of the big pharmaceutical company somehow involved in distributing this deadly drug to the streets? Yeah, because it's Chris O'Donnell. Otherwise, it'd be a random guy. Obviously, he's going to come back later and he's going to be behind. Oh, is Max Payne's like kindly avuncular retired police guy? Is he somehow going to be mixed up in this? Yeah, because it's Beau Bridges.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, there's so many stars in this. That's something I appreciate.
There is a lot of stars
Chris
in this.
O'Donnell is in this.
Yep.
Beau Bridges is in this.
Yep.
Chris Ludacris Bridges is in this. Do you think they're
Ludacris-
brothers?
Yes, I do.
Probably one of them got the other one the job, I reckon. Donald Logue is in this, who I love.
I love Donald Logue.
I watched this and I'm like, oh my God, do you remember that show Terriers? I love Terriers.
He's great in Gotham as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's in so many good things.
Blade 1.
Oh, he's in Blade 1.
He gets his face pushed into a train.
Oh, my
There's nothing
God.
like that in this movie.
No, absolutely
Push
not.
his face against a train.
Yeah, I agree. Push his face into a train. And it's interesting because both Jeff Bridges and Beau Bridges played iconic villains in 2008. Jeff Bridges in Iron Man. Beau Bridges in whatever character he is in this.
That's right.
Oh, God, I just fondly remember both of them. But yeah, it does feel like you're kind of going through the motions of this bog standard murder mystery. And then it gets to the point where about an hour in, they decide to do some of the action stuff. And it's not dreadful.
Yeah, I think some of it...
It's all right.
There's some nice looking shots in this that, albeit a bit cliched. We see somebody wielding a gun in the snow and it's kind of the snow's popping down and that looks pretty cool. And there's a moment where...
That dude gets pulled out the window.
Yep, there's a moment where Max Payne mows down a bunch of cops.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the movie, I'm like, I tell you what, he killed a lot of cops, didn't he? And I couldn't tell you if all of them were supposed to be corrupt.
No.
But at the
I
end,
don't think they knew.
in the post-credits, Max isn't in prison.
No.
So I guess they all were.
And he's alive.
Yeah. Mhm.
Even though he got multiple bullets in him, which I guess is like the video game.
Yeah.
Also, his outfit is wrong.
Yeah.
Leather jacket and a black turtleneck?
That's not Max
What are
Payne.
we doing here? At one point, he is wearing a tie at a funeral. But that's also not Mad Max Payne, whatever his name is. I didn't care for it. And you know what? I'll tell you this. The CEO of 3D Realms, Scott Miller, he
yes.
felt the same way. I want to get to specifically what they thought of that towards the end. But in getting this going, this movie apparently met a lot of resistance from Rockstar Games because they'd bought the IP at this point.
Oh, and they were like, this is going to take this to another level. Yeah.
So apparently they made serious attempts, including legal, to try and prevent this movie from being made and were non-cooperative in providing materials that would help with pre-production. So maybe this has something to do with why
We
this
will
is
not
like
give
this.
you the iconic tie from Max Payne. We will not allow Mark Wahlberg any time with Sam Lake, the face of Max Payne, to get him to teach him how to do the Max
The
Payne
Max Payne face.
Right?
You're not going to do that?
It's like,
Yeah, he still can do it.
yeah,
He's doing it.
he's doing. I love Sam Lake.
Yeah.
I think he's the best.
You know why I knew this was PG-13 also? Is because the new drug in this, there's always a new drugs.
Yeah.
It's a drug you drink. Whereas if you snorted it or
Yeah.
injected it or something like that, that bumps it up immediately.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Into something else.
Speaking of, so the plot of this movie largely revolves around. We eventually learn that Max Payne's wife and child were killed because his wife worked at the pharmaceutical company that developed a drug, And Beau Bridges, who also works at the company, he has decided that he's going to distribute that drug on the streets and somehow make money out of it.
But he's head of security or something. He's not big business all
But
the time.
also, it's explained in the movie that the drug was developed for the military, and 1% of the people who take it feel a strong sense of invincibility and become better soldiers, and 99% of people have a really, really bad time. So I'm not quite sure how this would go in like the party scene. Like imagine if you go to a really dirty nightclub and there's a guy there and he's like, all right, I could sell you some weed and you'll feel real mellow, or I could sell you some cocaine and you'll feel like the coolest guy in the room, or I could sell you Valkyrie, which you drink, so that's convenient, but also it makes most people feel like they're being pursued through the streets by invincible winged demons that'll make you leap off a building. And I think you might be like, I'll have a glass of water actually. I'm going to drive later.
Also, I feel like the effects of this drug, they're kind of weak as piss. It's just like shadows.
Yeah, huh?
And you think there's some shadows.
Sure.
Like there are drugs that exist that you can take safely, like acid. Not that I'm saying you should. That would,
You're on acid right now.
Maybe I am.
We're not even recording this. I'm not even here. I never existed.
But why would you take this? What are the benefits other than you see some shadows and you go, ugh, it sucks. It's a bad drug. Nobody would take it.
And also, the 1% of people who take it, who become invincible, they're not bulletproof.
No.
Because there's a recurring villain in this who is stalking Max for a variety of reasons. We see him mostly
in the show Prison Break.
That's exactly right. And he's sort of standing in the background in a few scenes. And then at the end, there's a big knockdown, drag-out fight with him and Max. And the bad guy's all shirtless and he's all a big tough guy.
Yeah,
and then Beau Bridges of all people, just shoots him once and he goes down. Not even 2 bullets.
Yeah.
It's not even, I thought it'd be one of those scenes where he takes a bullet and he keeps walking and they have to empty the magazine in him. No, 1 bullet,
One
this
bullet.
guy.
Maybe they did initially.
This is a bad drug, I think.
I agree, it's a bad
It makes you
drug.
feel invincible, but you're not. They should drop it on the enemy. So they think they're invincible and then just charge.
But they're not.
They're not.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But Max is kind of invincible when he takes it. I thought he was wearing body armor, but he's just being shot.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize that it made you invincible-ish, because I think it sort of does, but it doesn't. It's interesting, isn't it?
It mostly makes you leap off a building.
Yeah.
Or it actually attracts real demons?
Well,
it's vague.
Okay, there is a supernatural element to this. And I tell you what, when Mark Wahlberg takes the drug, just before that, there's a moment where he slow motion shoots a shotgun over his head and it's really funny. And the guy shooting at him misses him by quite a long way.
Yeah, like 10 feet repeatedly. And he's got the high ground advantage. He's got
man.
a machine gun.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. But I guess you're not expecting a guy to do a trust fall backwards with a shotgun in slow motion. You're expecting him to move it in regular motion, not slow motion.
No, you're right. So anyway, Mark Wahlberg takes the drug and then he brings big Wahlberg energy to it. The kind of energy you expect from a man who said he could stop 9/11 if he was there. Those are his words.
He didn't say he'd stop 9/11. He said it wouldn't have gone down the way it did. So based on this movie, probably worse.
So just to be clear, it still would have happened.
But worse. Another level. Would have gone to another level.
So I think though a lot of this movie is practical and real sets, and you can see that, you get a sense of it. I think it does capture a feel very well, like it's got a visual flair. But then when it goes full supernatural, not as much. It kind of loses. Well, it never had it, but let's just. It goes in a different direction, which is worse, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that
But
just
they
me?
needed something. If they couldn't do the Sin City vibe, they needed something to put in the trailers, right? And if it's just Mark Wahlberg and Beau Bridges standing in some shadows, that's not very interesting, is it?
Oh man, do you remember the bit where they flash back to when you realise Beau Bridges killed his wife and child?
That's right.
I thought...
You see Beau Bridges' guilty face in like a child's mobile.
Yeah. Ben and Lawrence, can you just play this scene in its entirety? Did yours stutter dramatically? Because I was watching this on streaming, I went back and did the same thing twice where it cut really hard.
No, I don't
like
know.
2 or 3 times during that scene.
And also, it's golden yellow because it's his precious memories of a better time, not because they live next to the sun, I guess. Or maybe they did.
Maybe the sun moved out and was replaced by the moon. I just want to mention some weird weather moments.
Weird weather moments.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So there's a moment where Jeff Bridges' brother is killed by Max Payne. But it's just as he steps into the snow, and I think you mentioned this, but there's too much snow on the gun.
Oh, I see.
Way too much snow.
Because they had to do a bunch of takes, probably.
No, I think they just piled up the snow and went, this will look
Okay.
cool if there's more snow.
Maybe it's all the cocaine that people aren't using anymore because they've got the drug that kills you now. And they're like, I don't need this, and they just throw it out the windows of their skyscrapers, you know?
You might be right. And the other is, there's a moment where Donald Logue and Mark Wahlberg get out of the car in the rain to have a conversation, and they're just standing in the rain having a conversation. But like, get back in the car or huddle under a stoop. Why are you standing in the rain in a turtleneck? Like, it would get into your neck. It just wouldn't be good, Mason. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Did you notice in the post credits? He's graduated from turtleneck to just regular t-shirt, and I think that's symbolic. I think the turtleneck was symbolizing how he felt vulnerable.
Oh.
And now he's gotten over the death of his family or whatever. He can just...
He's casual now.
He's cool and casual now.
Anyway, it's time for Trivia Payne. It's probably... Trivia, I got 2 bits.
I would love to hear both the bits.
There's a lot to know. James McCaffrey, the voice of Max Payne in the video game, makes a cameo as the FBI agent at the start called Lieutenant Jim Bravura.
Interesting, okay.
So that's good. And this movie is also voted online as one of the worst movies ever made. Now, I looked for that. I couldn't find the specific poll.
Sure,
But apparently somewhere at some point this was voted as the worst movie ever made, which I don't think is true.
No.
It's boring.
It's not the best movie ever made.
It's probably not the best movie ever made.
It's on another level from the best movie ever made. It's just on a different level to that.
Yeah, it certainly is, isn't it? Now, on a budget, though, of $35 million, this made $85.8 million. This did turn a tidy, tiny little profit.
Good for them.
Which is why they were talking about a sequel to this. Obviously, it was hinted at in the post-credits. I would have loved when he walked into the bar and there's like the reveal that there's somebody else in the bar. And I'm like, oh, who's it going to be?
One of the demons?
I don't know. I thought, is there another iconic Max Payne character that we could introduce? Remember at the end of Uncharted?
Oh, Mila Kunis is in this, by the way.
Yeah, Mila Kunis. He turns around, it's Mila Kunis.
She's in it for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Does she get an action sequence? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think there's a bit where she's holding some guns.
Nice.
And that's
nice.
cool.
That's cool.
I expected something else. I don't know, like, even just put in another video game character.
Sam Lake.
Yeah. Yes, Sam
Your
Lake.
brother's here. Brr. Still in the face.
Put in Conkers from Conker's Bad Fur.
Oh, hell
Fur
yeah.
Day.
That's right.
These are all good. So I watched again many interviews from 2008 in the lead up to the release of this movie. There's a few things that Mark Wahlberg says. The sequel has to be better or as good as the first.
All right, then.
Which I think is easy. You could easily make a movie as good as this. I don't think that's a problem. Yeah. But another thing is, I watched him say, I've never done a sequel before, but it would have to be good or better to do it again. I watched him say that exact thing in several interviews, and here's a montage.
I've never done a sequel. Well, I've never done a sequel so far.
I don't know. I've never done a sequel before.
I've never done a sequel.
They've been trying to make a couple of movies that I've done into sequels.
They've tried to make sequels out of a lot of the films that I've made.
Make it better than the first.
If we could make it better than the first, or at least as good. If we can make it better than the first, then it's worth considering. If we can make it better than the first, or at least as good, then I'm willing to consider it.
Better than the first.
I've never done a sequel.
They're just media trade, Mason. These Hollywood people, they're not real.
Oh my God.
They're not real like me and you. They're just learning their lines and they're saying them. They're saying them, Mason.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Now, director John Moore, he announced there was a plan to release a director's cut of the film called the Gamer Dedicated Cut. But these plans never materialized. But there is an unrated version, which you may have watched. Chris O'Donnell gets squibbed more. That's one of the big differences,
I see. Okay,
which you don't see. But I thought this is a good thing to end on. 3D Realms spoke to Edge magazine / website.
Oh, I loved Edge magazine back in the day.
/ website.
/ website. Loved it.
Yeah.
There was no Electronic Gaming Monthly, I'll tell you that much. It was all right. There's no Game Pro.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was different.
It's no NMS, Nintendo Magazine System.
There was no Nintendo Magazine System. No. There was no Mean Machines. Okay, I'll stop.
They spoke to the 3D Realm CEO about this movie, about what he thought. And this is what he said. There are several fundamental story flaws in that film that have me shaking my head in bewilderment. One of the bad guys, Jack Lupino, lamely killed by one of the film's non-action characters. Did you write this, Mason? The entire time we're told that the drug makes 1 in 100 people superhuman, yet Lupino doesn't demonstrate this in the least. It should have taken a hail of storm of bullets to bring him down. Plus, It should have been Max that kills him.
That's right.
A big problem with the film is that we do not know what is driving Max until we see the flashback scene showing him coming home and finding his family murdered. In the game, he put the scene at the front of the story for a reason. Saving this scene until mid-film is a narrative blunder because the audience needs to empathize with Max in order to like him and understand what drives him.
I liked him anyway.
Yeah?
Just kidding. I think he sucks. Maybe I'm biased, though,
Maybe you are.
because I find Mark Wahlberg loathsome. I find him loathsome, James.
You have mentioned that multiple
He's a
times.
loathsome asshole, James, is what he is. In my opinion.
Mason,
Yeah.
this is the man who could have stopped 9/11.
No, he couldn't.
We might need him
That's true.
if there's a big crisis.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we
Yeah.
might have to turn to him at one point.
Oh, that's true.
And I think he might remember that you called him a loathsome asshole. Right?
Okay, all right.
Anyways, do you know these videos are early sometimes?
I do know
And
that,
by
yes.
sometimes I mean always at
Always.
bigsandwich.co. This is like our Patreon service. It's if people want to help support this show, keep it ad-free. I mean, like, not YouTube ads, they're running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, hell yeah,
Sponsored,
yeah.
etc. But there's so much bonus stuff there. There's early videos, as mentioned. There's video game Let's Plays. There's bonus podcasts.
That's right.
There's movie commentaries. And here's a hint towards next week's video.
What is it?
Releasing the sand turns back time.
Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. We do that every Monday. We talk the news of the week. We do a movie review. We do other things, don't we?
That's right.
It's on its own YouTube channel. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's on others, probably.
That's right.
Put it in your podcatcher.
Do it.
Put it in there. Whatever. All right, thanks, everyone.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week. I'm just hung up. Does he kill more cops than he does bad guys in this movie? I'm pretty sure he does.
Yes, Mason.
It's wild.
It's saying something. It's social commentary.
That is so true, isn't it?